Mama, and today we are going to be making chicken and dumplings. So our first step for our chicken and dumplings is going to be to make a stock. And I always say that everything goes better when you start with a delicious stock. So right now what I'm doing is I'm adding a handful of aromatic herbs. I have rosemary, sage, and thyme that we're adding. And I'm going to add 2 large onions, 1 sweet and 1 red onion, and they're just quartered. So here I have about a half a bag of triple wash spinach. You can see me tearing up a little bit. Why am I adding spinach to my stock? I'm adding spinach to my stock because I want the extra iron and nutrients in my stock for my children. I think that this is really what sets apart a homemade stock from a canned stock. I'm going to get all the nutrients. Carrots. I'm adding these carrots unpeeled. These are organic carrots. I have rinsed them and scrubbed them lightly. I try to use organic whenever possible, but it is not always possible. Most of the time when I'm using celery for a stock, I use celery that, the parts of the celery that I don't normally use. So now I'm adding a bunch of parsley into there, and I'm going to add some kale. Another reason, just like the spinach, that I add kale is to try to increase the nutrient content. So, as far as the chicken that I am going to use, I'm going to use a whole chicken, and I'm not even going to cut it up. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as long as it is fresh, and I like to use a hormone-free chicken. Don't forget to take out your organs. I use them in my stock, but you have to remove them from the package. So we just add that. I'm going to throw it in the garbage, and I'm going to rinse my whole chicken, and I add it to the pot. Okay, so now I'm going to add about a handful of peeled garlic. At about the 1 to 1.5 hour mark, I am going to be moving the chicken and taking a good look at it because I want it to be not completely cooked through. I don't want it to be totally waterlogged. And because I have so many vegetables and herbs in my stock, that will be enough time to get a nice rich stock. If you have less vegetables and less herbs, you need more time for it to boil and to get more flavor out of the chicken. But because my pot is so full, I won't need that extra time. All right, I'll see you in about 2 hours. It's been about an hour and a half on my stock, and I have to tell you that my house smells glorious. My doggie is walking around with her little nose up in the air sniffing because it smells so good. It is just such a wonderful thing when you're making home-cooked foods in the house because it makes the whole house smell like heaven. Anyway, let's take a look. So the chicken is starting to cook. You can see the skin breaking apart easily, but I can tell you from experience that it is still very raw. We need it to be a little bit more cooked so it can easily be removed from the bone, and we can pull it apart and clean it very easily. So I will see you in 30 minutes. Okay, so this chicken is finished. Here's how it's going to look when it's done. Of course, I just touched it with the non-plastic glove. There we go. And I just have a metal bowl here. I put it in there. You see how it's curled back on the legs? That means that it's cooked, but it's not overcooked at this point. So here I have my 2 chickens, which I'm not going to clean yet because otherwise I will burn my fingertips off. And I'm just going to let them rest on the counter. And then I have a large colander and a finer sieve inside of a bowl. Normally I do this in the sink, so I'm just going to do the smaller pot of stock. And I pour it in. And I do the 2 colanders at one time because it saves time. And now you can see how nice and clean our stock looks. Okay, so now we are ready to start to assemble our chicken and dumplings, and my 2 lovely assistants are going to demonstrate how simple it is to make chicken and dumplings. So the first thing that Eliana is going to do is turn the stove on low heat. And once she gets that on, she's got a stick of butter that she's going to add. And about 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil after that. So go ahead and start pouring the olive oil and I will tell you when to stop. So that's about right. And so now Layla is going to stir the butter. I'm just adding about 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt and about 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper.
Black pepper, black pepper, black pepper, black pepper.
So then Layla is going to put her spoon down and she is going to add this whole bowl. Inside of this bowl, go ahead Layla. Okay, there we go. Inside of that bowl, there were 2 finely diced onions and 1/2 a bunch of Italian parsley and 5 fat...
It's really hurting my eyes.
Yeah, because it has onion in it. And 5 fat cloves of garlic. Something that I forgot to mention, a couple of sprigs of thyme were in there. Now we have in this bowl here about, exactly, what was it?
Carrots and celery.
Carrots and celery. They are coarsely chopped. And we're going to add that to our butter and onion and parsley mixture. And basically our goal right now is simply just to soften the vegetables a little bit and to allow the vegetables to render some of their
No, only little ones do that.
See, now they're softened and they've rendered quite a bit of liquid. So Eliana, go ahead and grab the whisk in one hand and a hot mitt in your other hand. And we're going to dump a cup of flour in here all at once. Okay, now I have 8 cups of stock that I'm adding. This is hot, Layla. So I'm going to get, And then I have Eliana, who's going to stir quickly the meat of a whole chicken, which has been chunked up into some nice hearty chunks. Go ahead, you can help push it in. Go ahead, Layla.
No, only I meant.
Now how about you give it a good stir?
Hey!
While that's cooking, we're going to make our dumplings.
This is just the chicken though.
Right.
This is the chicken though.
Okay, so we're starting to make the dumplings. I have measured out 4 cups of flour in my Cuisinart. I have a tablespoon of salt. I have 2 sticks of unsalted butter. I am also going to add, I have 4 cups of flour. I'm adding a tablespoon of baking powder and an additional teaspoon. Okay, so while she's pulsing, I am going to slowly add the buttermilk until it balls up. So we just added 2 cups of buttermilk.
I have chocolate.
No, don't put the chocolate in there.
No. So now I have heavy cream, and I'm going to add 2 cups of heavy cream to the mixture. So it's about 1.5 teaspoons. Okay, we're having a little meltdown at the hand washing station. But look, this is our side. We're going to turn this down to a low temperature. And I added about 2 tablespoons of Wondra flour because I wasn't pleased with the thickness of it. Let's take a look at how thick it is. That's about how I want it. I want it to cling to the spoon. Now, the girls are going to ball up the dumplings and make them, since we've just washed our hands. And you just kind of plop the dumps in.
Chicken dumps. Chicken dumps.
And girls, I need you to work a little bit faster because we don't want to have some dumplings overcooked and other dumplings undercooked. Okay. So our little elves are going to go a little bit faster. Okay, the girls have had a really good time, and they've added all of the dumplings. Tell them, take a look. They're not all completely cooked, but it's really important that we don't keep it boiling beyond the point of them being completely done, because what will happen is they'll fall apart. So we just give it a little bit of time, and they do kind of stick together, but as the mixture cools, they come apart again. So they're really delicate during the phase while they're cooking. I'm going to turn it up a little bit. As soon as they're all puffed, what I'm going to do is turn it off, and then we can start. Here's my hungry teenager coming home for a bowl of chicken and dumplings.
So good.
No.